Registered speakers will be sworn in and provided 3 minutes to speak each. And commissioners will discuss the case and ask questions if needed, and later on they will vote.
Very good. With that, let's go ahead and ask for approval of the minutes from the last meeting. Could I have a motion to do so? And a second, please. Motion is on the floor. Are there any corrections, additions, deletions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the last meeting say aye.
Aye.
Those minutes are approved. Okay, we're ready for the first case, please, Louis.
So the first case. So we're having a continued application of 96 South Granite Avenue. Here's the location on the map. 96 South Granite Avenue is this park space right behind the library, the northwest corner of Topiary Park. I did a site visit last time. Would you all like to see that again, or are you good on that?
Good morning.
I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. You know, we gotta come up.
Oh, okay.
No problem at all. We got kind of in the habit of introducing all the applicants and those who were testifying one at a time because we were online. They showed up one at a time. But since we're here in the room, I think it works. Do you, Louis, or do you want them one at a time?
Do it all at once, and then they come.
Let's do it one at a time. But all those in the room who are going to testify in any of the cases today, please raise your right hands. You swear and affirm the testimony you're about to give us the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. If so, say I do.
I do.
Good. I think we're all sworn in. Would you folks identify yourself, please?
Good morning. I'm Donna Zeiderweg, and I'm the Chief Community Engagement Officer with Columbus Metropolitan Library.
And I'm Rachel Harkleroad. I'm with MKSK, the landscape architect on the project.
I'm sorry, say your name again.
Rachel Harkleroad with MKSK.
Great. We have seen this case. In fact, we saw it very recently last month here. So maybe you just kind of highlight maybe what might be any kind of differences or tweaks or additions or that you might have made if you want to do that, because I think we're kind of understanding the concept. If anybody disagrees, then we'll speak up.
Sure, certainly. So I don't think there's a significant difference to what we presented before. We did take a look at the feedback that we heard in the meeting and certainly tried to incorporate some.
Leave that out.
Certainly try to incorporate that, but I think most of the feedback was fairly modest and was easily incorporated as far as accessibility for children's, some children elements, connection to the park. We've moved those a little bit closer to the edge of our space and into the park. So there's some movement there. We have finalized a little bit more what we anticipate to be the pattern and the color pattern on the main plaza area. So we've been working with our team and the MKSK team to do that. And we've continued to have conversations. Oh, I don't know that I need to click any further, but
Sure,
I guess
that's a good
maybe,
one.
yeah, that's a good one. And so we've really refined the color palette and some things along that line, and really some of the positioning of the elements. We did take a look at that we had feedback around accessibility, and we did take another look at that, or two or three. And we feel that the challenge for us around adding further ADA accessibility is really around the location of the trees and how we would be able to manage that. And so we just are feeling that that is a very difficult thing for us to add. And we just basically,
around the tree.
well, it's in order
You
to.
have the entry on the right.
On the entry on, as you're looking south on the north, that is, wait, as you're looking
Page
south,
right. Page right. Page right by the stairs.
by the stairs.
So on the east side of our site, we have less grade change than on the west side near the library. There's already a lot of settling issues along there because of the existing pump system that's involved in everything. So in the basement, so we don't want to add more hardscape to the west side, but also it's like, I think it's 5 stairs there. So on the east side, there's only a foot grade change, so we kind of tried to focus our ramp studies there and accessibility there. And it seemed to us that the trade-offs to add the ramp, lose 2 existing trees, and then also we would lose a connection, the big wider arc that comes from topiary that feeds the top of our stairs to match grade along topiary. So it kind of trades one entry for another of ADA accessibility, and they're only 25 feet apart. So that's where we weighed our options on that.
That's correct.
That's the existing accessibility right now.
Right.
And then also from the garage, and then also from the east-west straight walk on the, go to your left, go to your walk towards me. Yeah, keep walking. Thank you. Yeah, yeah, it goes through the center of our park. And then it's accessible. Yeah, and then there is an accessible ramp from the Cristo Rey High School on the south side, yeah. That's the stairs, but there is a ramp back there, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Time you see these ramps, they got this to me just.
Yeah.
Right.
And they aren't even really ramps, they're just sloped walks, so.
Yeah, they're pretty nice.
I got a question about, the colors are very bright.
Yeah.
It's primary color, so, is that what they're intended to be? Okay, and then how do you, what?
So that's a thermally applied
Oh,
surface,
okay.
just like a roadway. And then there'll be, I believe with the product that's chosen, then we will be doing, the stencil will be made in shop and then brought to the site and heat applied.
So
On site.
Walking over time, this might be changed, switched out, replaced.
No, unless they want to spruce up the color or something, but all of these colors were chosen specifically to match the library's new branding program. So these are very direct links to that image, yes. Yeah, but they should be zero maintenance. They're typical what you see in a roadway, so they can take salt, all of those things. We hadn't proposed any signage, but we might have a no skateboarding sign. But we could certainly look at doing something like that if we needed to. There isn't currently a sign for that. It turns out that the detectable warning strip, the handicap ramp, is actually 12.5 feet away from our stairs and 13 feet away from the topiary park entrance. So it's kind of right in between, so it seems a little obvious which way to go, but we could certainly look at that if it's necessary.
They don't stay up all year round. We would take them down probably late October, early November, and then put them back up in the spring. And
Miss the snow.
Yeah, it's just
correct,
snow
they're
load.
not,
Mhm.
yeah, snow load. And they're pretty stationary in the way that we've got them configured. The nice thing about it, though, is that we are looking at some various lighting opportunities and options below it. So, you know, that will be something that could also change, which I think will be unique to the space.
Mhm. When the shade sails come down, the posts will remain, and that lighting would also then be directed in a different way so that it's more ornamental and not shining to nothing. So, yeah. That's right, yeah.
Any other questions? The applicant? What's the pleasure, group? There is a motion to approve, is there a second? Second. Oh, Otto?
Right.
Great, thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Questions or comments, anything else from the applicant or anything from? Yes, I'm sorry.
Parking.
I'm sorry, hang on just a second. Would you kindly, identify yourself? David, by going,
Excuse me?
you wish to speak?
Yes, I do.
Okay, could you identify yourself?
I'm Matthew Loving.
Okay. Could
Loving
you,
Realtors.
oh, okay, would you raise your right hand? Do you swear and affirm that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So say I do.
So help me God, yes, I do.
Thank you. Okay, so there is a comment, and he's identified himself, so let's go ahead.
The parking, I'm just 2 doors down. We've been down there for third generation. Been down there for 75 years. And there's a couple of concerns I have. One is the parking. From the schematic I saw, there are approximately 45 parking spaces. Would that be correct?
I think that's a different project.
Now, wait a minute. We're talking about the library, part on
I'm
each
sorry.
side of the library. Can you, okay, you're gonna talk about one of the others. Okay, let's, maybe hold that for later. Are there any other comments? You guys don't have to talk about.
Like, oh no.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you're not doing anything with parking.
We have a drop off.
I'm not hearing any other comments. We will say aye. Okay, this application. Very much.
Thank
you.
Throwing us for a loop. Oh, sure. I didn't read it carefully. Okay. Lewis, thanks, Gabe.
Next one. Condition with exterior lighting package from Astor Park parking garage. It was approved at the May downtown commission. Condition that they return with lighting. Proposal calls for 20 upward facing arc mounted luminaries along the east elevation to illuminate the architectural perforated fins. The mural will be illuminated by 9 downward facing arc mounted luminaries. Columbus Crew Way entrance sign, Hill Drive entrance sign will be illuminated by slit profile LED luminaires. Top parking garage will be illuminated by pole lighting. The guidelines state that lighting should be designed to complement and enhance architectural features. Creative lighting solutions are encouraged, and the use of cutoff fixtures and similar techniques to minimize uplighting is encouraged. So in summary, while the design does complement and enhance the architectural features of the garage, its use of uplighting is discouraged by the guidelines.
Become the mother-in-law. At the arena.
Let's see, I'm sorry, were you sworn in?
Yes.
Would you identify yourself?
Zach McClurg, the project architect with Moody Nolan. Zachary McClurg with Moody Nolan, the project architect.
Okay. Okay, do you want to show us what you're thinking about here?
Sure. So okay. All right. So we did engage a lighting designer who that was one thing that we kept in mind was the distance of the throw of the light. So we do plan on that light kind of being at its weakest towards the top of the wall, the top of the 5th floor. We don't anticipate any light pollution beyond the facade itself. It's mostly there to highlight the perforated metal panels.
Those lights kind of pictured it.
So they're fine.
Correct. Yeah, they're angled towards the building and up. They should follow up along our metal fins that we have there.
And are they mounted on bottom of the metal fins or are they mounted on the ground?
They're mounted on their own attachment arms along the 2nd floor of the parking deck.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's shown very well in any of these. Looks like you can maybe
So it's
see.
just over the metal panel, so it doesn't start down on the ground.
Correct, yeah. Correct, it's the same. Yes, correct, it's the same assembly. It comes off its own rigger arm that just is angled down towards the mural itself. Yes. Yes.
Let's just, tell me, what's our objection to, up, so they shoot way up there?
It's,
As opposed to something that was directed at the wall.
yeah, I
You're
mean,
trying to advocate if it's lighting.
sure, yeah, I mean, I wasn't around the guidelines created before, so I don't know what the exact intention was, but my other guess would be light pollution.
Yeah.
Sky.
We got it all outside.
Is it supposed to be bright, or is it kind of something that's supposed to?
So it's probably not going to be too bright, honestly. We didn't want to compete with the stadium across the street, especially working with Pizzuti and Haslam. I'm sorry?
Are they color changing?
No, they're not. They're white the whole time.
I frankly, like. For a second. For a second, okay. So again, if you rehash, this, building has been approved, they're asked to come back for lighting, so we're simply addressing lighting. Any questions or comments on this, anything else, anything from the audience? Yes, go ahead, Jan.
So other than what you're doing on the east facade, is there any down for the other facade?
There's nothing else that's directly illuminating the facade on any faces other than the one that you see along Columbus Crew Way.
Okay, and what, just a real quick, what's the lighting, is the lighting new on the mural there on the art component, or is that something new today, or is
No.
that beautiful?
That's also being asked for approval, but that's not something that has not been part of the original.
Okay. Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Thanks very much.
Yeah.
Okay, Louis, next case, please.
The next case is at 415 North Front Street. Right here. Green across from apartments, could be the storefront on the ground. But I didn't say. These are across from apartments, this line back here was no longer there. Import. So this is where the sign would be located, right here, this half plank was, it would be a larger rectangular sign. Looking south, well, the half plank sign is. The new sign will be here, and there will be another smaller projecting sign here. When you're looking south, you see both of them. Right here, there's this sign, the half pint will be a new projecting sign here replacing it. The business is changing, so all this half pint sign. And here you can see what this doing context facing north, market, facing east. And then facing south towards downtown. So our analysis is that so they're proposing two internally illuminated projecting signs with black backgrounds and white base blue and tan letters. Larger sign will be 35 square feet, face Front Street, and extend 10 feet above grade below the second floor window. Second sign will face the alley and consist of a circular design measuring 12.2 square feet. Both sides are guidelines say that commercial signage should be pedestrian oriented and communicate symbols in a balanced manner. Each ground floor tenant space should be provided one projecting sign on either one wall sign, and either one wall sign or awning the first street frontage. Building should not be dominated by graphics, and crowded and cluttered graphic arrangements. Summary, proposed signs generally meet the guidelines. However, both signs will be visible within the south. Commission will have to determine whether or not this gives a cluttered appearance.
You mean when looking north?
Looking south, when you're looking south from the north, you'll see right here, this.
So I have a couple. The Ludlow alley, Signage, they're very different than the Front Street. They're different. Thing that's not in the guideline. Predate you. Signage and you. The question that we asked when it started was how do we let this play chaos? Because we wanted to have a lot of color, a lot of you might not want somewhere else. I think this is fun.
I was saying the same thing. I think there it is, this one view that Louis shows where you might actually see both sides. But that's not how you're going to experience it. Be along front, you're going to be in the alley, and I think it's perfectly appropriate.
Yeah, and this is here, because the fire they fix you goes up grade.
Oh, okay.
Not that I personally have an issue with it, but I can't stand to prove that, so that's why it's here.
Great. Any questions? I'm sorry, we have the applicant here. Would you identify yourself?
Bruce Sommerfeld, thank you.
Bruce? Okay. Were you sworn in?
Yes,
Did you have any comment?
no, it's a visually challenged approach from the south. We're heading to the south and certainly one is more pedestrian oriented than the other for vehicular traffic, but we appreciate your awareness and appreciate the move forward.
Any comments, questions? Yep. Go ahead.
The round sign, is that the same color?
You know, what I like is a little border around the side. So sunlight, it doesn't show up when you're, it seems to me that it's got some color about it. Doesn't it? Is that red?
No, it's
Neon?
that's the reds just that identify the LEDs on the inside of the cabinet. It's all black and white.
Oh, see, what's from the very outside?
Oh, those just to show the brackets, the studs or the plates
Side going
left.
to the right. Right there. That little borderline around the outside.
That's just to denote the LED modules on the inside of the cabinet. It's shop drawing, yeah, it's just to color
You
break.
see that? We're not seeing
No,
that.
unfortunately not.
Okay, pleasure of the group. Motion to approve, is there a second? Questions, anything from the audience? Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
Our conceptual review. By Nielsen. Here we are, 225 Nielsen. Yeah, I'll leave just with the spring. With spring and cotton more or less. Starting to be and I did do a site visit as well. So here's the building. Looking south, this is the east side of the building. This is it's like an alley. It's not a city-owned alley, it's just like an access road. Owned by the property owners, I believe, they want to turn into kind of like a outdoor patio space. Wall. Here you can see the existing entrances, same side. Some windows that they're gonna be modifying. This is the south wall. There also be parking lot to the south. Parking lot. Just to give you some context, here it is looking north. Large parking lot across the street. This building. Across the street. And this is the parking lot to the south. Right, so our analysis is that they're proposing exterior alterations to an existing 33,000 square foot office and storage building in the warehouse. It consists of a one-story brick structure constructed in 1966. The alterations will result in a community-focused bar, restaurant, and entertainment space with day and nighttime programming. The applicant described the project below. Developer, and that's all. So our analysis is that the built environment will continue to be enhanced and energized with new buildings in addition to the existing structures that promote good design, long-lasting low construction materials, and attention to detail, especially at the street level. Temporary design and materials are appropriate, which should be compatible with the scale and proportion of the building, as well as its place in the neighborhood streetscape. Summary, the proposal generally meets the guidelines with regards to ground floor use. Help with that.
You identify yourself?
I'm Brad Parrish with Archall Architects. Yes, I was. Thank you for hearing me this morning. This project is, the existing building is 33,000 square feet. It's the old vital statistics building in this area. So just holds a bunch of the birth and death records of individuals in Franklin County. So they're moving out. My client, Adam Nestler and Noah Morgenstern, who are from Buffalo and Boston, Buffalo, New York, and they've had a couple concepts for this community-based bar and restaurant and entertainment space, and so they want to bring that to Columbus. From the design on the exterior of the building, when we first, started looking at this, the existing building's a brick box, surrounded by really articulate warehouse type brick buildings with great brick detailing. So we felt that just by, the existing brick is not a really great brick. It's kind of an orangey color on the outside. So we felt that if we would paint the existing building to set it off amongst the really great brick detail warehouse buildings in this area. But also kind of, from a design standpoint along Neilston here is give sort of these big long frames that start to play off some of the existing storefront openings, reuse the existing entrance there and give it some height that it's sort of coming into entertainment space. We're adding an additional entrance space off of a key alley here as well. The signage element on the corner, we're still developing. And I would say hold off on comments today on that as we'll bring that back to you. But it's some sort of amorphic shape on the corner of the building here, along with the brand signage, which they're still sort of gathering. The alleyway that's before, so Hackman Capital Partners owns basically the whole block here, and my tenant is leasing off of them. So they own the building to the north and this building as well. So the alley is vacated, and they have agreed to activate that as a sort of a spill out space, from the interior and create sort of a small intimate patio space. So that's sort of where our design derives from. Yeah, we were going to use it for egress as well. They have it off the back alley. There's another alley that's to the west of those two buildings that accesses and services all of the trash and utilities, et cetera. So this alley really can be closed off and utilized as a patio space and really activated. So I think that's one thing. The inside space is sort of divided into more of a community kind of venue space and then more recreational. So that's kind of playing to that patio space where there could be nighttime music and stuff from inside to out as well. So overall, we were trying to stay consistent, but kind of keep a neutral palette on the exterior as as the brand develops here. So I'll take any of your questions and go from there. Yeah, it is. There is a mezzanine space on the inside. We are not increasing the existing mezzanine. It's roughly under 3,000 square feet. So we're not going to be increasing that for obvious reasons. And so we're going to, but there will be a private event space up there. Okay. Yes. Yes. Yes.
The opening scene. I wonder.
Yeah. Yeah, we wanted to bring, I mean, we're considering that inside space. It's a very transitional space of, it could be a gallery, it could be a community event space, it could be, there's a lot of programming aspects to that. And so, and at this point, it overlooks a parking lot, which who knows if it's going to be a parking structure at some time or developed as a further project. So we were just trying to keep these long linear natural light slots, to match the rest of the facade. So we could definitely study it a little bit more in our next go around. Right. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. So coming from the east there, again, we haven't decided if it's going to be real vegetation or if it's sort of a fake faux product there. But, I would say coming from the east, we shouldn't have an issue. And then I think we're on the south side. We have some, where if we did like a climbing Boston ivy or something, I think we're okay there. The alleyway where we're proposing it on the north side, we may start to look at a different vegetation or graphics on that to activate that space. But I think we're still sort of developing it. I think from this meeting, I just wanted to denote something special, something graphic in nature is going to happen on that elevation. I think it's going to go along with more of the concept of the space as they develop it. Again, it's a new spin-off from their 3 other locations, and we want to kind of see where that develops. So we'll bring that back at the next time, what those graphics will be for you guys to review. Yes. Yep.
Yeah. I'll look at this. Ever had. Said I want the one. And so I'm a little like the and it just seems
Editing.
other it's a warehouse and this one. So nine red brick, so it heavily is.
Okay.
I think we could do. But some of the ideas are kind of going. Right now. Very soon. Well, I wrong idea.
And I think on the, yeah, I understand where you're going with that. Thank you.
Find them. So brick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Understand?
How wide is the alley along?
On the south side, I mean, yeah, I mean, we're right on the property line. With that alley, I mean, yeah, there is an entry, but it's recessed into the building. So we're carving like a 10 by 10 space into the building to really, so you're not swinging out into the right of way and all that. Now, there's been some proposals, I believe, MVVJ has done some design concepts for that have been released. But nothing permanent. Yeah, you're exactly right.
Well, and I appreciate what Bob said, and I agree with what Bob said, but it's sort of a prioritization. Nielsen, public side of your building. I love some of the things you're trying to do. That red brick character, but still create this punches of things along there. I love the alley. I think it's a great opportunity. The whole, this district needs energy. So
Yeah.
I think it's a cool use.
I would say the Nielsen Avenue or Nielsen elevation, there's an organization too, and I would say the north and south, there's not a consistency from those. So, it's, I don't want to put a lot of effort into the south side if the site, I mean, it's going to block whatever's going to happen. So, I just want to be mindful of that moving forward. Very skinny. Very skinny. I mean, there's not even really a pedestrian, there's not a sidewalk on that south side of it. So from a public safety, they will be walking in the alley. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
Any other comments?
Great. Nielsen will be the main entrance. Yeah, that's where the greeter, and when you walk in and direct you toward your party. All right. Well, thank you for your time today.
Look small. I think you. Big. Wow.
You're saying on
I'm sorry, on the east.
on the Nielsen.
There it is.
It's the one in the middle. Yeah, so there's a grade change from inside and out. Yeah. Yeah, but from our concept, it's something that like it's compressive, and then you open up to a 2-story space too. So it's kind of this, kind of nightclub feeling that you come into a small door and then open up to the larger space. So, and then we have the large windows there to the right of that. All right. Thank you.
'97 East Sound Street. Large vacant lot that's been looking south from Topiary Park. Across the street. Start to see here's that historic structure. House. Right this minute. I just gave you some context in the area in first section area. Large 6-story apartment building. This is to the south. So our analysis. The applicant is proposing construction of a 98-unit multifamily lot. Will be located on the vacant lot southwest corner. Lies within the East Town Street Historic. Therefore, also be reviewed by the historic. East Town Street Historic, 19th century Italian, Second Empire, Greek Revival, Statuesque, Indian style houses. While the majority of the buildings are 2- and 1/2-story detached residences struck with brick, there are also examples of century apartment buildings, also with brick exteriors and ranging from 2 to 6 stories in height. This affordable housing development will be 6 stories tall, with podium parking, amenity, parlor, and outdoor terrace. Building will be set back from Town Street, with 1 bedroom and 2 bedrooms. Potential materials consist of brick, dishes trim, brick, coins, and cementitious. In our analysis, the commission encourages maximizing the investment potential of a given site, but stresses compatibility with the surroundings. Front-facing facades and facades facing public streets, parks, and other civic spaces should demonstrate a high level of design. In historic districts, new construction should be distinct but compatible with historic buildings, so cause negative impacts resulting from architectural design and material. Finally, building materials should be of high quality. Summary: proposal generally meets the guidelines. The design is distinct but compatible with the property. Ground floor parking is in the site plan respects setback along front. Material selection has not been finalized. Final material should be of high quality considering its location. At the August meeting of the Historic Resources Committee, precedent to be included in design. And at the last meeting, the actual meeting, they didn't stress that as much, but they did ask south facade and parking, parking. 2 letters have been received regarding this proposal: a letter of support from Columbus Landmarks and a letter from the property owners at 475 East Town Street. Both were included. You have an applicant here. One moment here.
Terminology.
Video in your packet. David, did you have a presentation?
Not specifically. I think, if anything, from the packet that you received, we were looking at the siding colors. There was a concern that it looked yellow, and it did look yellow. We're not intending the siding to be yellow. It's going to be a taupe color, more to match a brick tone.
David, would you identify yourself?
Excuse me?
Would you identify
Yes,
yourself?
David Maleka, Moody Nolan Architects.
So what is, what's the material?
So the material above will be siding. There's actually going to be two types of siding. So the middle portion of the building will be one, and the upper portion will be another. We're looking at some sort of either scalloped or some sort of form. If we're trying to find a product, cementitious product that does that. The problem is they're not shipping to the north for some reason. They would manufacture it down south, but it's a work in progress right now. So we'll have that selected for the next meeting. Yeah.
This one that's
In the neighborhood. So I did a lot of, we did a lot of work up and down the street. And again, there was probably a public, we put out something early on for this site that we went and regrouped on. We walked the neighborhood and, there's a lot of Queen Anne type architecture in that area. So the challenge came back from me, actually from the client saying, okay, I think we'd rather go in this direction. Something asymmetrical, something that has a little bit more of a, again, he wanted to go more towards siding. He thought siding was more appropriate and softer. So we sort of looked at Queen Anne detailing throughout the really Ohio region and pulled references from that. What you typically see in, again, Queen Anne is sort of, again, asymmetrical. You get a larger front gable, you get columns and bay balconies. You get some sort of porch, one-story porch that sort of wraps around part of the building. And you get sometimes these turrets, usually, again, that signify, a corner of it. So that's where I pulled the references from. And as you see, I think I added those to the package as well. Do you want me to walk through the plans and everything too? Sure.
Yeah, there was a video. Yeah, we'll put the, there's a video. Do you want to do the video first?
Sure. Some beautiful music involved. One of the things I know that, we are doing an affordable housing project. One of the challenges from the client was to make sure it didn't look affordable. And it felt like it belonged in the neighborhood and was like any other market rate housing project. So there's been a balance between that and obviously the cost involved in trying to make this a affordable project. So again, the resolution really was to do brick base, up the turret and doing cementatious siding for the rest of it. All the moldings as well will be of that material or some sort of non-wood material at this point. Again, with the next presentation, we'll have that included, all the materials.
I do think that when you do a project like this, where you're trying to mimic something that's over something, I think the materials are very important. Otherwise, it just looks, it doesn't come off. So
Yeah, it's between the materials, I think, and the detail. Yeah.
Cost down. That's nice. Some other.
Have that power. As you develop the materials, I know that work with the main version. The masonry, it gives it some depth and text. That could do the character. That same.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it's thought on this when I looked at the photos that. I noticed that the windows under are like a one open. Of course, when you interpret something, it's probably a good different type of design. But I'm wondering, play with that and consider other types of design in terms of 1/1, only and what it's.
Mhm.
I think that's similar to the, I didn't know.
Okay.
I think also on the tower, that's, I looked on the floor and those are, I think maybe, a little bit. It might be in that.
In that turret, sure. Yeah, so,
It didn't look quite right. I think that, I think the porch area there might be a little bit higher. And I was thinking about, well, maybe that gets in the way of windows. It looks just too low. When I looked inside, those windows on the second floor, you got a two-story space.
we have,
So that's kind of easy to bring up, whether it's on the corner or even, or extends a little bit. If it were up higher, almost kind of tucked up under the window. Second. I think it would add scale mass-wise.
yeah, the only challenge with that right now, it extends and goes under the bay windows to the right of it,
Yeah.
which is a unit which has a walkout. So I'm trying to align that walkout with that. So that floor level, that is 16 feet to the floor to floor on that first floor. So I think I think the perception when we get into, the scale of it, I think it's going to feel right.
That roof is 16 feet.
Correct. So again, I think the perception of that scale is a little.
Okay.
And you mentioned the windows also. The windows right now are 4 feet wide by 5'6" each. So we're talking oversized windows. So the idea was to do bigger windows, less windows. The walkouts, we have 8 foot. I think they're 8 foot wide by 8 foot high walkout doors for this as well on the balconies. So again, there's going to be a lot of glass in this building. It doesn't probably seem like it's going to here, but I think when you walk into those units, those are oversized windows are going to be pretty tremendously effective. We are 10 feet off the property line on the right side there, 10 feet 1 inch or something like that. So we looked at that. We faced, we did the U shape of the building kind of facing that way. So there's a large opening in the middle of that. That's atrium space to try to offset some of the building impact along that edge. We've been in that unit, that side of the unit actually doesn't really have much along it. It's multiple volume space and really nothing, no rooms look out onto it. Plus there's a large garage in the back end that's kind of a dumb face that's on it. So, we figured I figured we did the best we could as far as accommodating and trying to pull off what we can. We're also fighting on the east side of our building. There is an overhead power lines. So we have to stay not only off the property line, we got to stay away from those power lines. So that's been a balancing act of, okay, how much can we fit on this site and hit all of our setbacks and requirements? That is on the east side. Yeah. It is. Yes. So I worked on actually redesigning it yesterday, and also we're looking at enhancing, based on the HRC's comments. We looked at putting more emphasis on the south side as well. So for the next meeting, you'll see those incorporated. But we are looking into those, and we will be blowing up how each one of those openings into that garage are working. There definitely will be a fence of some sort in there, but we are going to put a hierarchy to it so it feels more like a divided opening. Plus, the landscape is not showing. No, it's actually in the openings of the wall. Since it's going to be a an open parking garage, open air parking garage, that's our going to be the security end of that. The other thing you're not seeing here is there's going to be an overlay of landscape, which we are not showing as of yet, but will be obviously in the next package.
Yeah.
I think it's. So it is, and then parking garage. You have the east side challenge. But I understand why, because of it was a long time. And I think it's also very good that we have the landscaping strip. There's enough of a landscaping strip that you can really do something there. So I think there's a lot of potential.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, other questions, comments? I think it's great that we're getting something on that corner, we agreed to demolition without a replacement plan. Yeah, people that was something. But it's been taken.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Anything from the audience now? Matthew? And you have been sworn in, that's correct. Go ahead.
So about 45 parking spaces.
50 parking spaces.
I've got, we're handling port apartments at 580 East. My big concern there is the amount of cars that are going to be out on the street. In other words, we have a topiary garden that's listed with the Smithsonian as one of the top small 10 gardens. And my father was instrumental in bringing that topiary garden pass. And visitors coming in the area right now, in the evening, parking is very tight right now. So, if you got another 120 people in that apartment building, right now, Townley Court, we have 104 units there, and there's 85 cars to that apartment building. We're not high rent. By the way, also, when this says affordable, this is affordable housing, can you define that for me?
It just meets the criteria of the affordable housing. I don't know the numbers offhand what they're meeting, but it's whatever that city criteria is for.
So is it section 8?
No, it's not section 8, because there's going to be a mix of some market rate in here as well.
So how would vouchers and all that?
To be honest, I'm not sure.
That's very important to know because Hawthorne Road, which is right behind us on the Ridge Street, it's about 40-some units. That is section 8. And the police are over there all the time. There's nothing but drugs coming in and out of that place. So I'm not equating vouchers with crime, but these are important elements to look at because you're putting a piece of property you want to develop right from the prime of that whole district right there, where Jack Lux put tons of money into that big house there and so forth. So I think it's very prudent to go through this whole thing I don't want to see what my wife and I have to endure from our carriage house, looking over, with drugs and so forth, to Hawthorne Road. So how vouchers and incomes and so forth are handled, I think is important. for that specific piece of property, especially where it's located.
So the CDDC is the owners of this property, and if you know anything about them, they're extremely careful and a well-oiled machine as far as development is concerned. I don't think you're going to find any of those issues here. This is not Section 8 housing. And as far as parking, we are looking to augment the parking with the neighbors areas. We were talking to Franklin University as well as Ancova, working with them about possibly doing some additional parking. So I don't think that overall is going to be a concern for this. And as far as the Topiary Park, I was the designer on that building as well and worked directly with Jack Block. So I am aware and know the history of the neighborhood. So I think I know what I'm working with here and trying to obviously do the best for a historic district. I think it's going to be a good building.
And parking is an issue. As to put parking, create minor situation.
I mean, there are no requirements for parking down there.
Is there a parking? This is not it. This is the example.
And yeah, so again, the 50 spaces is really, if you talk to the historic people in the area, they'd rather have no parking in the building. So it's a balancing act too. It does not, no. 98 units and 50 spaces, correct.
Okay, well, thank you for your input. Are there other comments?
Can I get
Yes.
your name real quick again?
Matthew Loving, LOVING.
And there's a comment from behind there. Could you identify yourself, please?
Deputy Deborah is my wife.
Okay, I'm sorry, could you say? Yeah.
Yeah.
Come up here.
I'm sorry, with these masks, it's hard to hear people.
Jeffrey Deppert and my wife, Catherine Deppert, were the owners of 475, which is the sister house to the house that's immediately adjacent to the. So and we're the ones that submitted the letter. So 3 quick points. We wanted to express our general support for this project. We're very excited about it. We're hoping it continues to be a catalyst for the development of the properties that are just to the south, which Louis mentioned in his overview in the summary. We think the team has done a really admirable job with this initial design concept. So we're very excited about that. The Historic Resources Commission made a comment about the south side facing of the building. We agree with that. It's a very walkable community. There are people walking up and down the Walnut Street, which is the street immediately south of the property, Ridge Street. So that side of the house our property is very visible. So we think that's great. We appreciate what the team has done there. As we mentioned in our letter, we just wanted to acknowledge that not only is this an historic district for the city, but this is in the National Register of Historic Places. And these properties have a lot of very culturally and artistic and historically important components to them. And so we just wanted to advocate for the use of best practices in the construction of the property to make sure that those adjacent historical properties are protected. And we've talked with the team and they've been very open and communicative about that. We're very grateful, appreciative of that. And in particular, we just want to point out the Rookwood Room, which is it's a room that's in the 475 building. It's made of Rookwood pottery tile, which was a pottery company that was founded in Cincinnati, Ohio. First large-scale manufacturing enterprise owned by a woman in the United States. So it's a very sort of historically important thing for the city of Columbus, the state of Ohio, and nationally. And so the concern there is just to minimize the vibration in the construction of the property. And we've been in communication with the construction team, development team, and got some assurances along those lines. And then lastly, just to make sure that everyone's communicating, that everyone's meeting with each other and talking about this. We appreciate the opportunity to talk to the folks today. The team has been very open about communicating with the neighbors and adjacent properties. We appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
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 I'm working on this one right now. I'm a big and we work with area with either monitoring or goal. Wonder if that might be over here. So, under.
Yeah, excellent idea. We're working with Mike Fitzpatrick with Alfred Construction on this, so they've contacted Gephardt's, and we're gonna work directly with them, make sure that we're communicating very thoroughly with them.
Okay, good. Are there any other questions? Okay. Thank you very much. I think you're correct.
Thanks.
Okay. Is that it, Louis, or we have? No? Okay.
So ideally, go to, a motion to enter the applications, the staff approved applications of record. We got some, two, sign replacing, temporary graphics, wall sign, temporary vinyl wrap.
Okay.
I move approval. Have to prove that.
Sure, second.
Second.
You have any questions or comments for Louis? Those in favor, say aye.
I think
That's you're off to the votes.
headed to another one.
Okay, anything else for us? Any old business or new business?
Yeah, we're still chipping away on the graphics proposal that we discussed, and so we should have some. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for coming in, folks.